Now, the other problem that you noticed is that once I remove my user interface, I don't have any way of easily getting back to the user interface other than the method of clicking on my running apps and then clicking on the music player. Instead, we will take the advantage of making use of my um, of notifications that are supported in Android in order to support um, easily getting back to the user interface when I getting back to the music player. A couple of minor bug fixes here. Inside my music activity Java in the onCreate method, when I recreate the user interface, I should be able to restore the user interface to the location exactly where the song is currently playing or where the song was currently stopped. So I need to make sure that I initialize um, the user interface properly. So I'm going to set the song's title to the current song title out here. In addition, when the music player is playing, if the music player is currently playing, then I also need to ensure that my button, player button, is using the correct image resource. Button pause. So with this couple of minor corrections to musicactivity.java, let's now go and see how we can make use of the notifications in order to put a user notification um, into the notification drawer up top here, so that we have an easy way of returning to the user interface for our application. So to do that, let's go to musiccontroller.java, and in the music controller file, I'm going to introduce a couple of new variables here. I would say private. I need to put any notifications in my notifications drawer. I need access to the notification manager. So let me import the notification manager, and then also I will create one more variable called as note ID. I will need this note ID later on within my code to be able to reference to the note that I'm going to put in my music player. Coming down, to put a note into my notification drawer, to put a notification in my notification drawer, I need to create a new method, which I will call as put notification. Okay, and then also I will introduce one more method in here called as cancel notification. Okay, now I'm going to come back later to fill in the code for these two. Now, in my code, what I need to do is when my music player starts and my service is created, at that point I want to be able to put the notification into the notification drawer, so that when my music player application is running, there will always be a way for the user to get back to the user interface by using the notification in the notification drawer. Now, to do that, whenever I create my uh, service, I am going to put the notification into my notification drawer. So first, I need to get a reference to the notification manager, which I will do using this particular statement for the notification service. Notification, get a reference to the notification manager. So this is how we would get the reference to the notification manager in Android. Now, after I get the reference to the notification manager, then I can put the notification into my notification drawer. Now, obviously, we haven't filled in the code for the put notification method, so I'm going to go back to fill that in there. Now, in addition, when my service is destroyed, I want to remove the notification. So in my onDestroy method, I'm going to also cancel my notification. Okay, so I will add cancel notification into the onDestroy method. Now let's go down and then fill in the information for my notification. Okay, so in my put notification method, what I am going to do is, for any notification, if you read the documentation for notification, I need a bitmap which I can put in my notification. Later on, we will see how the notification looks like on the screen. So I'm going to use a bitmap. The bitmap that I'm going to use is the bitmap that I have already created. The bitmap that I'm going to use is the note blue that I was using. This note blue, I'm using a small version of this note blue also in the notification, so to remind myself that that's the song that I'm playing. Later on, if a particular song has got an album art, I'm going to replace this note with that particular album art in my code. Now, so I get access to this bitmap. So if you have a any PNG or any file that you have stored in the drawable, if you want to convert it into a bitmap, then you can make use of this method called the bitmap factory. And to the bitmap factory, using the decode resource method, the decode resource method basically converts any image file into its corresponding bitmap and then supply it as information in here. So that's how I am getting my large icon to refer to a bitmap version of my note blue in here. Now, to build a notification, you need to make use of the notification builder. And to do that, I would call the notification builder mbuilder. Okay. Now, obviously, this one would be created as new notification builder. This, in addition, I can supply a set of parameters to this new notification builder. The few parameters that I'm going to supply is set small icon, and for the small icon I already have this icon in my code called as listen icon, which is nothing but a um, um, headphones which I'm using as the um, icon for my music player application. So set small icon, and then I would set large icon to um, now this bitmap from my node blue, which I converted into a bitmap, will be too big to be included in my notification draw. So I'm going to reduce the size to a smaller sized value. So I will create a the create scaled bitmap is a method that is available for any bitmap which I can supply, and then I create a scaled version of the bitmap to size 72 pixels. So I'm going to make use of this in my um, notification. In addition, I would set ongoing to true. Now, when you have a background service playing, now when you put a notification in the notification draw, normally in ordinary notification, when the user touches the notification, then the notification will disappear from the notification draw. In this particular case, even when the user touches the notification, I still want to keep that notification in my notification bar, notification draw there. So that's why I will set the ongoing to true, which means that even if the user touches the notification, it will still remain in the notification draw there. So to do that, I would say set ongoing to true, and then I would set title. These are some of the components of the notification. So the content title, and then set content text. Now the content text is what I would use to display the name of the song that is being played. The content title, I'm going to make use of it to display the name of the music player application that I am currently using. So that's why I'm using that as the uh, setting that string to music player here. Now let me just cross check again. So it says create. Create scaled bitmap. Okay, so large icon, create scaled bitmap, and okay, I noticed that there is a 72 in there, so that's why it was complaining. Now it says notification builder. New notification dot builder. Okay, so that should take care of the problem. So it should be notification dot builder. So this will help me to build the notification correctly. Now, in addition to building the notification, with every notification, I can also attach an intent, what we call as a pending intent, meaning that this intent exists there, and when the user clicks on the notification, then the intent will be executed. So what am I going to use this intent for? This intent, I'm going to make use of it for starting my music player music activity, the user interface. So I'll say create an explicit intent. The music activity. So I would say intent, result intent. I'm just going to make use of a name there. Now new intent, and I have already declared the music activity. That is the music activity that I already have. Now, I'm going to use this intent and create a pending intent so that when the user clicks on the notification, the intent is executed. Okay, so to create a pending intent, I would have to create a pending intent. I would get activity, and then the context would be this 0, and the intent, the result intent which I just created, and then I'll simply set the flags to 0. I don't need any flags. So with this 2 pieces of information in there, now my notification can be created, and the notification will have an attached pending intent associated with it. Now, once I have created the pending intent, I'm going to associate this pending intent with the mBuilders. So set content intent, and then the parameter that I need to supply is the pending intent in this particular case. Okay, so this one is I associate that with the notification, and then let me put in a log information so that I will be able to track when the put notification method is called. In addition, when I start a method, normally when I start a service in my application, the service will be executed in the background. Now, if I want to start the service and in such a way, because in this particular case I'm using the service to play the music, I want to put this, I want to upgrade the priority of that service to the foreground level. Recall that when we discussed process priorities in Android, we had talked about the different priorities for the process: visible, foreground, background, service background, and so on. So now I want to be able to start the service at the foreground level, which means that my Android framework will not kill this service unless it really has to. So we upgrade the priority of the service to a higher value. So to do that, I can use this method called start foreground. And then to this uh, start foreground method, I need to supply two pieces of information. I need to supply a notification so that the notification can be put in the notification drawer. So in this particular case, with the notification, I attach a notification identifier. So I have already declared this variable called note ID earlier, so I'm going to make use of that here. And so I supply the notification that I have created earlier, mbuilder, and then I would say mbuilder.build, and then that's about it. Okay. Now, in this particular case, okay, sorry, it's note ID with a small I in this particular case. Okay, so with that change, I can now save the code, and it is going to complain to me that there is a problem with lint. I'm going to say add suppress lint to new API for my put notification method. It's just complaining about something. You don't need to worry about it. Now, within the cancel notification, I'm going to use notification manager that I have created earlier. So inside the cancel notification, so we say m notification bar, and then say we cancel, and then we have to supply the ID of the node that we created. Now you can see why I am using the node ID earlier when I created my notification, so that I can cancel that particular note when I don't need it anymore. And then also I have to, when I cancel my notification, I'm going to set the stop foreground to true, meaning that my service is, well, when you think about it, this is going to be done when the service is being destroyed, so it doesn't really matter. But that's essentially the way we would handle notification being put in the notification drawer. In addition, when the notification is put initially from here, it exists, but I want to be able to update the notification every time a new song is being played. I want to display the name of the song in my notification. So I am going to do the same thing. If I want to update an existing notification, what I need to do is to be able to simply do exactly the same thing again, but with the same notification ID. And so I'm going to copy this code from my music controller and then go to my music player and then paste it into my music player class also, because I would be needing it at this point. And so obviously in here, when I need to get resources, I need to use the context, and then also this should be replaced by mContext. Recall that mContext is the variable that is storing the context for the service that has created this music player class. So I'm going to basically repeat exactly the same code in here. But of course, in this particular case, I don't need to be setting anything to the foreground. Instead, I just simply have to notify the manager. So in this particular case, instead of saying start foreground, the method of updating the notification is to say M notification manager. Now recall that I don't have this notification manager variable declared in my code, so I need to create that. So I have to say M notification manager notify note ID and in this particular case. Okay. Now, how do I note that I need to create a note ID field up there, and then also I need to create M notification manager earlier. This would be int. I should use the same notification, and this should be notification manager that I have to create earlier. Now, when I create the notification manager, I need to import notification manager. Okay. In addition, inside my code, when I do the set context, at this point, I also need to initialize my notification manager. So how do I initialize my notification manager? If you remember, we had done this in the code in my in the music controller. So I'm just going to go there, copy that code, and then paste it in here. Okay, and context would be to get. So in this particular case, notice that I cannot create the notification manager here because I need a context to be supplied here. So to do that, I would have to call this with M context. Okay, so with this change, my music player application is now ready to make use of notifications. Now let's go ahead and then execute the music player. So let me go to the home, and then let's execute the music player. You would notice that now when the music player starts, it will put a notification in the notification draw up there. So as soon as the music player starts, we will notice that there will be a notification up there, which we can check as the music player is running. So as you notice, there is a notification up there. So when I open the notification draw, you will notice the notification up there called the music player in there. Okay. Now, in addition, inside my music player, I want to be able to create this notification every time I start a new song. So to do that, what I should do is that in my resume method, every time I start playing the song, I want to be able to set the notification. So here, player start, I'm going to put my notification into my notification bar in here. So with that particular change, now you notice that with that change, every time a song starts playing, its title will be put into my notification bar. Now notice that I have created that note, I have used the note ID as a bitmap in my code. Now this note ID is what will appear here. So the set large icon that you saw here, the set large icon that you saw in the code there, this is what helps me to control what is put in this large icon space here. The set small icon is what will appear on the right side here. The set content title is what will appear up here. So I have said that the music player, and the set content text, the second one, it'll appear down below here in order to show the title of the song. So inside my music player here, in the set content text, I need to set that value to M song title, because recall that M song title is the variable that's string that stores the title of the song that is currently being played. Okay, so with these modifications, now you should be able to see that my music player will display the notification correctly, and also when a particular song is playing, that particular song's title will be displayed in the notification draw up there. Okay, so notice that when my application quits, the notification also quits. So when my application starts running, again you see the notification being put in the notification bar. Now currently nothing is playing, the music player is currently stopped, so that's why there is no title in the music player. When I start playing my song, you would notice that the notification bar shows the notification, the title of the song being played. So let me go ahead and then, okay, at the end of this particular song, we'll select the other song and then see how things change in this particular case. Okay, now let me select the other song and then okay. Okay, now this is causing problems because in my reset I have at this point, when it reaches the end point, when my song completes, I am going to in the on completion listener, I should be able to handle this information properly. So when I do a reset here and then I start the song, at this point I should also set the position value to 0 here. So I would simply say save position 0 at this point. So that way I know that I am going to reset my value accordingly. Okay. All right. So you notice how tiny little bugs here and there creep in, and so we need to remember to go and correct some of the problems that we encounter while you're running the application. One thing is that if we are familiar with the code, it's very easy to sort of guess where the problem could be and then go and correct the problem accordingly. Okay, now notice that when I quit my activity by hitting the back button, my activity is gone. The music is still continuing to play. If I want to go back to my activity, all I need to do is go to my notification and then click on the notification, and the activity is back on the screen. So that is how the notification um, helps us to keep um, a way of letting the user go back to the user interface even after they leave the UI at some point in time in my music player. Okay, so we can also pause the song, and then even if we go back to the home screen and then want to come back to the same user interface, you can always come back to that user interface just like we see before. Similarly, so that's the advantage of using the notification within Android. A very nice feature that enables us to support the music playing in the background. So with that, we conclude this particular section of the lab, where we have learned two new features. One is the use of shared preferences, and the second one is the use of notifications in order to enable the user to be notified. Now, notifications can be useful in many different contexts. In this particular case, I'm showing you one particular usage of notification. In particular, for example, broadcast receivers can very well make use of notifications to alert the user for some condition being taking place. Similarly, if you're using background service to download a file, the completion of file download can be also notified to the user using a notification, and so on. So with that, we will complete this particular lab section, and then we'll enhance the music player further in the next few labs.